Morning again, Bill.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, Mark. Podcast number 2 today.
Podcast number 2. And actually, I've been really looking forward to this because we have Mr. Aamir Qutab with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Aamir.
And Aamir, I think, is the smartest person that I've met. He's the smartest person in this room, Bill, with all respect.
And if you're talking AI.
If we're talking AI, because
right.
I'm in awe about the way this has developed. And AI's not only exciting but frightening, I think, in the same breath.
Absolutely.
And Bill's idea was, let's get Aamir in and let's chat all things AI. And Amir's just said, I've got a couple of voice AI things that I can demonstrate too. So we'll have a play as we go.
We will, and we'll remind our listeners or advise those that don't realise, we actually did a podcast with Aamir quite some time ago in our early days.
On his life story.
And it was his life story, but we're not going to revisit that today because you're at a new stage of your life right now.
Absolutely.
That's right. And you've written a book and you've done all sorts of wonderful things. And tomorrow you're launching a new program on AI and you've got a session coming up down at the RACV Club.
He has
in
too.
Torquay.
So, Aamir, tell us, why did you write the book?
Very interesting. So around 3 years ago when ChatGPT first came out with the AI assistant, we were seeing there were a lot of business owners, business leaders that I was working with, and they were saying, AI is great. We see you can create these amazing images with that, but we really don't know how to implement AI in the business. And I was almost telling them the same thing in every conversation. And I thought that's probably there's a huge gap where there are a lot of business professionals, entrepreneurs, small business owners who want to embrace AI, but they don't know how to go about it. So I thought, let's write this book and then through this book actually explain. And I thought of writing this book in a fictional format so that we could actually explain the journey of someone going from skepticism about AI to actually embracing AI.
And the title of the book?
It's called The CEO Who Mocked AI Until It Made Him Millions.
And it's available on Amazon. And Bill and I have both bought copious quantities
and given them away.
And given them away. And Amir's given us a few copies, which we've given away. So I'd highly recommend, if you're thinking of AI, it's a great start. It actually gives you a really good understanding of AI. So, Aamir, what's the biggest fear businesses have about AI at the moment?
So it's very interesting. Like 2 years ago, the businesses were really skeptic about AI. They were saying, it's a thing, but it's a hype. It's going to go away. It didn't go away. Then people worried about it's going to steal their jobs. But now a lot of businesses are worried about that AI is going to steal my data. And what if it gets out of control and how do I control it?
So how do you control it?
So there are a lot of ways that are available through which you can control it. So for example, if you are looking at consumer models like simple free version of ChatGPT or DeepSeek, they actually use your data to train their models. And that's something that we advise businesses not to use. But if you use like a premium version or plus version of ChatGPT, there's a setting over there where you can say, ChatGPT, don't use my data. But for businesses who are Microsoft heavy, if they implement Copilot within their business, then everything can be contained over there. We have been developing AIs which are completely contained within the business itself. So there are a lot of ways to be able to control it. And that's one consideration. One thing that we encourage businesses to think about is think about all of the productivity gains that you can have with the help of AI and what you can achieve. And the guardrails can be put in place, but the opportunity is much, much bigger.
Sorry, Mark.
You're right.
It's interesting, on many occasions I've been speaking to people and AI comes up. And the first question, and they say, I don't know where to go, I don't know what to use. And they hear about all these different versions, Claude and Perplexity and ChatGPT and all this. I said, well, just have a look in the bottom of your screen. Because if you've got Microsoft, there's a thing there called Copilot.
Yeah.
And hardly anyone knows it's there.
That's
and it's
right.
really, now, I've just used it, and I'm just holding up here a document that I've done, and I explained to Aamir, I've rewritten a business book I did 6 or 7 years ago, and Aamir has just given me some free advice, and that is to put it on Amazon. Is
Yes,
that right? You just want to explain what you just said?
Kindle.
So I've written this book, right?
Yeah. So you can now put it on Amazon KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing, and then they publish it for you, and it's published on order. So when someone places an order, then they print it and they deliver it in the next 2 or 3 days.
There you go. Now, so when I first did this, Mark, so I had to get a designer.
Yep.
I had to get someone to edit it.
Yep.
I had to get someone to format it.
Then you had
and
to
I
print.
had to get it printed.
And you had to probably print at least a few hundred copies to start with.
1,000 minimum it was in those days.
And then you had to wait for the publisher for the proof copy, and then if there was a change, then you had to go back and reprint everything.
So this is just my example of how AI has revolutionised my Luddite way of writing a book.
Yeah, and a lot of people ask me these questions like, you wrote your book on AI, like did you use AI to write your book? And it's funny, the answer I give is like, if AI was not there, then it would have taken me a very long time to write the book, because of course the ideas were mine, but I used AI to brainstorm a lot of those ideas.
Yep.
Like AI is like my second brain, where I always am conversating with it and exchanging ideas. But then I also created different reader personas, and say, you imagine the role of a small business owner, of a large business owner, of a professional, and then read this chapter and see if it makes sense to you. And then these were the guys in the room who were critiquing my work and then providing me the feedback.
Right. And what's your personal AI? What do you use?
So I use multiple combination of things. So like in terms of day-to-day work, I use ChatGPT.
Yep.
But if something which requires me to look into my emails and files and so on, I use Copilot. But I have also developed my own AI agents, which is the next thing, where you can train it on, like you're still using like OpenAI APIs, but you train it on your own data and you provide your own workflows, so it understands your tones and what you want out of it.
And what's some of the business efficiencies or improvements that you've seen through people using AI in a brace? Because you're working with lots of businesses now.
Yeah.
What are some of the things, without divulging the business obviously, but what
Sure.
have they got out of it?
So basically, in terms of the AI, the way AI ecosystem looks like, you have got things that you can buy off the shelf. So you have got assistants like ChatGPT or Copilot. So when we go into any business to implement AI, we try and build a bit of roadmap, and we say you need a base assistant over there. So it could be ChatGPT or Claude or Copilot based on that organization. Then there are some tools that are available off the shelf. And then there are things that you build for them. So it could be assistive agents, which you conversate with. It could be automation agents, which automate the workflows, or it could be like autonomous agents or agentic AI. So we are seeing a lot of efficiencies, even just by implementing and training teams across ChatGPT or Copilot, implementing some of these tools. But then the big efficiencies that we see are when we develop these automation agents. So for example, for one client we did, and they were spending a huge amount of time. There were like 5 or 6 resources working on processing the invoices that they would receive. They had to match it with the purchase order, check everything. It was fine, match it with the funding guidelines. So AI was able to replace that whole task and free up the resources so that they could spend more time with the clients. And again, we have worked with a lot of organizations where we are seeing a lot of saving when it comes to these basic mundane tasks. We call it robot task, repeated, obligatory, boring operational tasks. These are the tasks that AI is very quickly able to automate and free up the resources.
Hard to implement?
I don't think so, because there are some things that you can actually do by yourself as well. There are no-code automation tools like make.com and N8N, and a person can learn it within 1 or 2 weeks. And it's not about being technical, it's about understanding your processes. And that's something that businesses can start to do by themselves and start to automate some of the basic things.
So sorry, go on, Bill.
No, so give us another. You mentioned something about your phone.
Yeah.
So give us an example of what you're talking about.
So we have been developing a lot of conversational AI agents as well. So there are 2 parts. First is around customer service, placing order and things like that. The second part is training people on different scenarios. So what I'm going to walk you through is an agent that we have developed for a retail store, and you can actually call this agent. So I'm going to make that call. You can actually call this agent and ask about the product and place an order as well. So
bear with us while Aamir touches his phone.
I'll put the volume up.
Welcome to Vision Australia. How can I help you?
Hi, I was after a magnifier. I'm not sure which one to buy. Can you help me with that?
Absolutely, I can help with that. To recommend the best magnifier, could you tell me what you plan to use it for? For example, is it for reading books, looking at small objects, or something else? Also, do you have
something simple that I could carry around. Yeah, reading books.
Okay, great. So, you're looking for a portable magnifier for reading books. We have several portable magnifiers that would be suitable. To narrow it down, would you prefer a handheld magnifier or a stand magnifier, or perhaps an electronic magnifier?
Yeah, handheld should
Also,
be fine.
do you have a preference for... Okay, I can help you with that. I will list a few handheld magnifiers that might suit your needs. First, we have the Eschenbach 2.7X handheld budget magnifier 60 millimeters for $35.46. This is an excellent reading tool that is ideal for activities such as reading newspapers.
Yeah, that sounds
Second,
like
we
good.
have the-
That's okay. That sounds like it's good for my budget. Can I place an order?
Great. So you'd like to order the Eschenbach 2.7X handheld budget magnifier 60 millimeters. Is that correct?
Yep, that's right.
No worries. I've got you. I can text you a secure payment link. What's your mobile number?
04040404.
Thanks. I've just sent you the payment link.
Excellent.
You can
Thank
complete
you.
the checkout at your...
That's very
There
cool.
you go.
Yeah.
Practical example.
Yep.
And you've developed that?
Yes, we have. Yes, yeah. And then now we are working with a lot of other organizations to develop booking systems, voice-based agents, and they can go like really technical and actually help people. But you can have it on your phone, but also have it in a kiosk setting as well, so people walk into a store and can assist people
Actually
with
do it
those.
too.
Yeah.
And it's got access then to the database of that,
Yes.
whatever it is.
Yes, so it can look into the stock, look at the stock levels, look at the product descriptions, but also intelligent enough to be able to determine which product to recommend to what type of customer. So like you were saying, it was asking follow-up questions rather than saying, okay, here's the product for you.
Yep.
So for every type of product, it can ask follow-up question and actually help customers with that.
And you could set how many options it gives, or can you adjust that?
You can adjust that, but it's like it doesn't need to be trained for every product. You give it normal instructions, like you would train an intern who would come into your
Yep.
store and say, here's all of the knowledge, read about all of the products,
Yep.
and then now use your intelligence and understanding of human psychology to be able to help customers. So it's doing that.
Yep.
So we are not saying if someone asks for magnifier, ask this question.
Yep.
We are saying you are a helpful assistant. These are the type of thing that you should be clarifying before you give a product.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Well, there are the savings in your business, but more importantly, it probably in a lot of cases when it comes to product knowledge, it's more accurate than a human person standing there.
Who may interpret what you're trying to say.
That's
as
right. Or I've got to go and look it up.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Another product that we are developing is called scenarios.ai, and that is to train your team members on various scenarios that they would face with the customers. So it could be a scenario like we are working with currently with Dental Council to train overseas dentists, because they have to appear in an examination where they are faced with an actor who plays as patient. So we are actually working with them so that dentists can practice these scenarios with the patients
With an AI.
and
Yeah.
then it evaluates them on the basis of the rubric and say, okay, you did not show empathy, you should be more empathetic, you should be more, or your diagnosis was not right, and so on. But then we are also working with like sort of call centers or retail stores, or even sort of like approaching more of organizations who are working in disability care. Wherever you have to deal with people and deal with scenarios, it sort of works out really well. But it actually trains people on that, but also gives them a report card to tell them how well they did on that conversation.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
And what I guess you mentioned before that in the beginning people were sceptical about it and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And then you'll often read some comments about, yes, it will pass. Do you envisage in the future that there will be AI 2 or AI 3?
I feel that we already are in like AI 3 or 4 because it's constantly evolving. Like it's so hard to keep up. Like I am almost spending 1 to 2 hours every night learning about what's coming up, because the models are getting better. And now we are moving into an agentic age where right now we are looking at AI where we are still asking it to do things or setting up automations. But with agents, you just have to give it a goal that you are a marketing manager and your goal is to maximize the reach. Agents can determine their own task, their own path, and actually are able to achieve things for you.
So that's a whole new step, isn't it? That's
absolutely, yes. Yeah.
So you don't really have to be thinking how you're going to solve it. You let the agent work out how to solve it.
That's right. Yeah. So right now with AI, we are still giving it tasks, but agentic AI, we would be giving it goals, larger goals, like you would set a KPI for a person who would come in, and then they would be working side by side with you to actually make things happen.
What's some of the agents that are around? Is that all part of ChatGPT and that the bigger guys?
No, so there's an agent from China called Manas, and you can actually ask it to do things like very complicated tasks or give it a goal. It can figure out those tasks and can do that for you. But even sort of ChatGPT and some other of these guys are coming up with their own agents as well. And some of these can actually use computer for you. So you can say, make me a booking or something. They can go on Google, do a search, browse our websites, and then actually make a booking. So they can operate the computer for you. And once they start to operate the computer for you, which means that they can do any task on the computer, whether it's entry into the Salesforce or determining something else.
That's amazing. It is amazing because a friend of mine is a retired computer programmer, and he was doing some voluntary work at the local hospital, and he was watching them using this very complex spreadsheet to do rostering, and he said, I can create a program for you and that'll make it so much easier. And then he thought, hang on a second. So he used ChatGPT, and he said it took him minutes instead of hours and he said he had to tweak it slightly, but it was absolutely spot on for what he wanted to do. So he's in that space. But I've just come back from Japan, as you know, Bill. I actually sat with ChatGPT and said, you're a travel agent, this is what I want you to do. And it arranged the itinerary for me, told me where I could stay, what trains to catch, how much the trains, where to get the bookings. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
Just using, but your book prompted me because it's the way you prompt and ask.
That's right.
Not, in the past I would have said, I gave it a brief of who it should be and what it did.
Yeah, I'd write a paragraph now, at a minimum. Now, by the time people are listening to this, Aamir, you will have launched a new product.
Yeah.
And
the Dumb Monkey Academy, which I love the name.
So because you're launching it tomorrow, our time while we're recording this, but tell us about this new product.
Sure. So we have been imparting lot of AI strategy, but when we go into any organization, the first thing that we have to do is we have to train and upskill the team, even the leadership team or the people who are implementing it, on the basics of AI and what's out there. So what we have done now is that we have developed this academy and community, which is we are calling Dumb Monkey Academy. It would be accessible via dumbmonkey.ai. That's the URL, dumbmonkey.ai. But also we'll be launching the mobile apps in next couple of weeks as well. So any business professional, no matter which level you are, can go in there, create a free account, access the community for free. So in community, we would provide a lot more information. We have got some free courses in there that will help you get started with AI, which are very, very detailed and comprehensive and will help you get started on that journey. But also we have got some excellent resources like prompt templates, prompt frameworks, some of the white papers and so on that are all available for free as well. And most importantly, we've got a community of AI experts. Some of them are local AI experts from other organizations who have come on board as experts, and they would be there to assist you if you have any problem or a question about AI.
So it's dumbmonkey.ai is the site?
Yes.
Okay. So you just Google that and it'll pop up?
Yeah, just go to dumbmonkey.ai and
Okay.
it will pop up.
And your main site is enterprisemonkey.com.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So Dumb Monkey is now a separate brand. So the book was published under the name Dumb Monkey Productions.
Yep.
The plan is to actually have the whole educational brand around Dumb Monkey, where we can actually help everyone sort of come on board on this AI journey.
Okay. And the conference that's being held Friday, which by the time this goes to air will have been held.
Yeah.
What's the theme of it? I know it's AI, but
Yeah.
what's the aim of the conference?
So it's been organized by Regional Development Australia, and the aim is to help businesses understand the applications of AI within the businesses itself. And it's a combination of a lot of government bodies that are attending that event, some businesses in there as well. So I would say it would be very interesting to see. There are some really interesting speakers from National AI Center in there. So it's a very nice combination of speakers. But the aim is to spread that awareness about how AI is changing the business world.
And once again, most people have no idea,
yeah,
do they?
Yeah, it's true. It's evolving. It is.
But more
evolving.
importantly, it's not only the owners of business and CEOs and boards and adopting or understanding AI. It's down at the lower level of management. Yeah, and you've got to, I guess, work through the users at the end of it, don't you? And I see that as the biggest challenge, because I know with some clients of mine that I can't even get them off spreadsheets. Right? How the hell are we going to get them into AI?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm trying to get them to just do basic tasks. Because I have this mantra: if I walk into a business and I see people using Excel spreadsheets, I think there's something wrong now. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
And it is, what's sort of a good tool to be able to grab information off spreadsheets and help you through that process of analysing data and so on? Is there a preferential AI? To do
Yeah,
it?
so Copilot has come up with two features. So there's basic Copilot, which is crap. Like it's very basic, and people
That's
say
why I use it. by the way.
so people say, oh, Copilot is crap, because they have not looked at Copilot for 365, which is a separate offering from Microsoft that
yep.
costs $50 a month per user. But that integrates with your emails, but integrates with your Word, Excel, and so on.
Yep.
So you can have Copilot within your Excel file. And there's a feature called Advanced Analysis by Python. And if you say do advanced analysis, then you can ask it any questions from that spreadsheet. And even I ask things like, here are my financial data. Tell me something that I wouldn't normally observe. And then it would create its not just formula, own scripts, do the calculation, and then tell me things that I wouldn't know normally.
So in asking the questions, Aamir, is it typing it in or can you actually verbalise it?
So still you have to type it in
Yep.
Copilot. But now Copilot for 365 have created an agent called the Analyst, and where you can connect it to a lot of like a folder that contains all of your Excel files or spreadsheets, and say, give me an analysis on this, or what's happening with my profit and loss, or not just financial data, but whatever data you have.
Yep.
You can ask it for correlations and so on. And without knowing anything about data analysis, it can do that analysis for you, can create graphs and reports and charts and so
that's
on.
pretty well at your fingertips, because Microsoft is pretty well the dominant
Yeah.
software on most PCs.
So it can produce a really informative dashboard at any in an instant.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. And the clients that we are working with now, they really enjoy it because they have set up zero automation that automatically download the files into one folder. And then anytime they can just go and say, hey, what's happening with this, or what's the update on this? And it can provide them the right answer, or give me a graph about this, and it can give them that particular
That's
graph.
fantastic.
So going back to Dumb Monkey AI, if you're an organisation and you want your staff and your employees who are using PCs and gathering information, they can all go to Dumb Monkey AI and they'll start to learn things that they haven't that will help them understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Is that a fair comment?
Yes, we've got a free course called Foundations for Business, AI Foundations for Business Professionals.
Yeah.
That's free for anyone to access, and it gives them understanding of the AI ecosystem, but some practical learning of how ChatGPT, Copilot, what's the difference between these two, how to use it, and how to build your basic agents in a very non-technical way.
It's very cool.
Unbelievable.
And so, Aamir, given you're embedded in this space, where do you see it in 12 months' time, and what's the change you can see coming through that we haven't yet spotted?
So right now, most of the people, the way they are using AI is like using the chat assistants and using it for either generating content. Most of them are for generating content or generating ideas, but not in the workflow. So we would say the technology is there, but the application of the technology is not there. So you would start to see more and more businesses, because like I know of 15 businesses in Geelong that we are working with where we are implementing it, but you don't hear about the use cases. So in the next 6 months, as their competitors will start to see they are actually really ahead of the curve, then everyone would start jumping on board, and you will start to see more and more use cases of AI within the whole business space.
Mark, you know where it's going? I'm going to have a chip planted in my brain, right? And I'm going to think something, and AI is going to give me the answer.
Well, I know people that have got ChatGPT on their phone, and while they're out, they dictate to it, or they ask for reminders or ask questions. So it's I haven't got to that stage yet. I tend to use it on my desktop, but
yes, and like everything has become so convenient. It's so difficult to get back. Like there's a tool called Gamma that is great for creating presentations. So you could just sort of like give it rough notes, put it in, and it can create presentation in like 30 seconds, like a really beautiful presentation.
That's the end of PowerPoint.
That is, absolutely. Because I went to speak at one of the conference, and I took my new laptop, forgot my old laptop, and that was one thing that I did not back up. And I was like, presentation was in next 2 hours. So I dictated some rough notes to ChatGPT and say, give me a script for presentation. It gave me the script. I added it in Gamma, and my presentation was ready with all of the images and everything in there.
And then you walked in and everyone said, oh, it must have taken him hours to prepare.
That's right.
It's fascinating, isn't it? And I think the biggest thing is fear. Is there's this, oh, my data's going to go everywhere but yeah, you can protect it, as you've said, but also is some of that data really that worrying that it's going to go and be used for training? No, who knows? Yeah. It's not as if it's got the nuclear missile silo codes on it or something.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's just trying to get past the fear it's like anything new, isn't it? I suppose there's always fear initially.
Yeah. And there's a way to check that. So if you're trying a new tool, just take their privacy policy. You don't need to read it, copy, paste into ChatGPT and say, hey, is it going to steal my data or not? And ChatGPT would interpret it and tell you.
Yeah, it's actually, that's very interesting, isn't it? That whole analysis and using it for those sorts of things. That's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Aamir, we've got to keep in touch, right? And you've been very helpful to us in the past, and we've known you for how long now? Since you started that, the IT...
2012, I think. Yes, it was ICT Geelong first. Yes.
That was a long time ago.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you've come a long way since then.
I have, yes.
And or cleaning out at Avalon Airport.
That's right.
As a cleaner.
Absolutely. And then a couple of years ago, I thought I'm all settled, and there was my team who was doing all of the hard work. But then this AI thing came up and just like blew my mind off, and I'm like back to that stage. I feel like that student again that started in
Yeah,
Australia.
because you're learning, aren't you?
I am, yes, and I'm learning, doing hands-on stuff as well, coming up with new things, because I almost felt that when App Store came up, like because when I was in my university, I created a social network, but I didn't really pursue it. I thought I sort of missed that stage when internet was born and there was huge opportunity to create new businesses, and then app thing came up, and then we missed that as well. So I always had that regret in my mind. But now with this AI, like there's so much of opportunity to create new businesses, new startups very quickly with very small teams. So that's why I feel like this is the window for me to be able to do something which is much bigger.
And have you got because you've got your team in Australia and in India and elsewhere? Are they all working on AI and developing programs and ideas and?
Yes, so some of them are, and it's been a bit of struggle for me to train my internal team as well. So I'm training my internal team. It's very funny, like even if you would see some technical people would be really good at embracing AI, but that's not the case. Even some of the CIOs I work with, like they know a lot about tech, but don't understand AI really well.
Yep. Okay.
And so it takes a bit of time for us to train them on that. But it's funny, like we were thinking that we are going to grow from a team of 80 to 150 people in next 2 years. But now our ambition is not to grow in the size. We might grow in the size as a function of what we are doing, because we are able to develop agents that are able to assist with our tasks.
So you use the AI to make yourself more efficient?
Absolutely. Because like even with our coding, like the thing that we were developing in 6 months, we are able to develop those in like 2 to 3 months. And the overall efficiency has become like much higher. Like one person can do the job of 3 people.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So if you want to get in touch with Aamir, it's enterprisemonkey.com.au.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the new one is dumbmonkey.ai.
Yeah.
And launching tomorrow, but the time this goes to air, it'll have been launched. Go and have a look and take on the initial free course on how to understand the AI, and the world's your oyster.
And if you're a business owner or CEO or whatever, don't hesitate to contact Aamir direct.
Yep.
And get him to come and look through your business and give you some advice on where the productivity activity is. So
Absolutely.
Thank you, Amir. That was
thank
great.
you.
Thank you, Aamir.
Thanks a lot.